Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. We're going to return on season 3 of BSing Sports here on the BSing Network. I am Bill. With me, as always, is my co-host Ryan. Ryan, how you doing today, bud?
You can, in fact, call this a comeback. I would safely confirm that this is a comeback. We've been away for some time. I have quite literally been away for some time. I am back. We are back. It is good to be back. We have yet to really cover any baseball, and there's been a lot of baseball that has been played, so that there is a lot to talk about on this episode.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. So, first of all, to all of our loyal viewers, all of you who are maybe watching now or hopefully later at some time, we do want to apologize for the hiatus. We said we were coming back about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and then we just, both of us had stuff pile on top, and we had to take a small break. But we are back. We intend to continue doing this, hopefully every night, hopefully, or not every night, every week, and
I was like, oof, oof. There's a lot to talk about every night, but I don't know if I can do it every night.
Let's get into it. Let's talk baseball. Obviously, it's baseball season. We're gonna run through the standings. We're gonna do a who's hot, who's not teams, and then best player, hottest player in each division, and then we'll wrap up with a little bit of fun information that Ryan and I get a huge kick out of. So let's start with the standings. Before I start rattling them off, Ryan, do you have any surprises? Any teams that jump out at you and you're like, wow, I really didn't expect that?
There's still a lot of baseball left to be played, but both the NL West and the NL Central jump off the page. I mean, the NL Central as a whole, the standings are almost reversed from what I thought they would be. And as far as the NL West goes, yeah, the Dodgers are second, but the first place team, obviously, we'll get into it in a little bit. It surprises me, that's for sure. And then on the AL side, I can't really say that I'm super surprised. I thought Houston would be off to a little bit better of a start, but again, there's a lot of baseball left to be played. So the AL East collectively is showing out this year. I feel bad for Boston.
Yeah, listen, I'm right there with you on especially the NL Central, how it's, like you said, completely 180 flipped on itself from last year. The teams are in the exact opposite order. Leading the way are the Pirates at 34-30. They're 7-3 in their last 10, just playing really, really good all around. 34-30. Really good all around baseball. And look, they're young, so I expect them to, at some point return. Some point in time, kind of sort of fall on their face because they're a young team. They're also a team with almost no payroll. Those things catch up to you after a while. It's just what happens in baseball, right? But yeah, they started out hot, 34-30.
It's not even the All-Star break, though. So, we've seen teams completely fall on their face. If the Oakland A's can go 15-50 in 65 games, any team can go 15-50. Well, not any team, but you know what I mean. It's definitely possible.
That's true. Brewers in second, Reds in third. Brewers at 34-32, 5-5 in their last 10. Reds 31-35, 5-5 in their last 10. Cubs 28-37, 5-5 in their last 10, and the Cardinals 27-39. Real surprise in that division for me. 3-7. They are one of our not hots on the list that's coming next.
Yeah, that was the big surprise for me. I thought for sure that the Cardinals would get out ahead in that division, despite injury concerns in the rotation, but it just has not panned out for them. Wonder if we're going to see a fire sale here at the deadline if they can't turn it around quickly.
You're talking the two main guys are big contracts. I'm not sure how many teams are going to dive after them. Arenado and Goldschmidt are the two I'm referring to here. But I don't know. Maybe you're right. We're not even at the All-Star break. You might see what happens. They could go on a run and win 10 out of 12, and it looks completely different. And that's just the reality of baseball, right?
Yeah.
NL West, since you brought up the NL West, Diamondbacks, the third best record in baseball, tied with the Braves at 40-25, 8-2 in their last 10. That's a surprise. Then you got
For sure. They've had great pitching this year, though. Both Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen have really stepped up, both with ERA is close to 3. Merrill Kelly actually is 4th in the NL, I believe, in ERA this year. So good for them.
Yeah, I agree. Good for them. Dodgers in second at 37-29. They are 3-7, kind of skidding a little bit here in their last 10. Giants at 33-32. Padres, a bit of a surprise for me, 31-34, and the Rockies, no surprise at all, 27-40.
Yeah, the Dodgers' recent play has been slightly concerning. It's not just the fact that they've lost the last 3 series; it's who they've lost them to. I believe they have a loss to Oakland in there. I think they lost the series to Oakland. If I'm not mistaken, they lost like 3 straight games in walk-off fashion.
Yeah, the Dodgers have done the same, right? Or they had
So
lost 5 out of 6 in walk-off
that,
fashion or something like that.
that's what I'm talking about. The Dodgers, they've lost an incredible amount of games in walk-off fashion in a short amount of time.
Yeah. We'll come back to the NL East because obviously Ryan and I have the most to talk about in that division, so we'll come back to them. AL Central, you actually, you know what? I'll do this. I'll do this for everybody. I'll do the AL East first, and then we'll go right into the AL Central, so you can hear how different these two divisions are.
It's all in order. It's all lined up for you. It's perfect.
It is 100% in order. The Rays are the best team in baseball by 7 games to the next best team at 48-20, 8-2 in their last 10. Orioles 41-24, surprise, 6-4 in their last 10. Yankees 38-29. Say it again.
Because, is it surprising though? Because the Orioles made a hell of a run last year after the trade deadline.
It's surprising in the sense that they're above the Yankees to me. That's all. But yeah, so again, Orioles at 41-24, 6-4 in their last 10. Yankees 38-29, 4-6 in their last 10. Blue Jays 37-30, 7-3 in their last 10. Red Sox 33-33, 4-6 in their last 10. Now, right into the AL Central. Twins 33-33, 4-6 in their last 10. Guardians 31-34, White Sox 29-38, Tigers 26-37, Royals 18-47. Second worst team in baseball right now is the Kansas City Royals.
I don't understand how the AL Central just collectively decided to do a massive rebuild, or they just can't win games. I mean, it's incredible. Like, to think about the Red Sox, who play in the best division in baseball, have a 500 record, whereas the Twins, who play in the worst division in baseball, also have a 500 record.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. We watched. We were fortunate. We got to see the Tigers a couple weeks ago with the Phillies, so we got to see them. They're just kind of sort of in shambles right now. I think they're just really riding the the Miguel Cabrera retirement. Sorry, my wife is yelling at the dogs. I might have to go handle that in a second. And I really think that's what the Tigers are doing right this second. And once Miguel Cabrera is gone, maybe they'll do a real rebuild. I mean, they do have Torkelson, which is a pretty bright spot on their team there. But
who was sent down to AAA earlier this year. He did not get off to a great start this year.
Correct. Give me. You are going to have to hold the radio for a few moments. I shall be right back.
Okay, I got it. Well, we've all got to deal with dogs sometimes. My dog can be like that too. However, biggest surprise for me so far out of what we've talked about is just 4 out of the 6 division leaders are not teams that you would have predicted to lead their division going into the season, right? Like the Rays had an outside shot, so that's understandable, and the Braves. But past that, I mean, we're talking about really bad teams like the Pirates, who have a payroll that possibly, everybody watching the show could afford. We have out in the NL West, we have the Diamondbacks, who are an even worse team than the Pirates, and somehow they've sustained to be tied for the second best record in the major leagues with both Texas and Baltimore, which are, again, 2 shocking teams that right now are playing great baseball. Maybe not so much Texas, but Jacob deGrom going out for the season again, right on cue there. It's a shame because we're missing some of the best pitching that we've ever seen. And it's unfortunate, but, deGrom just stays hurt.
What's up, Diggs, by the way, 7? What's up? Thanks for joining us here. I caught a bit of what you were talking about there. Yeah. And how the Orioles have been shocking, and the Diamondbacks also have been extremely shocking. But the Rangers and the unfortunate, just career of Jacob deGrom at this point. It seems like every year he comes back, he says he's healthy. 10 games in, he's on the IL, and this time it'll be for just about 2 seasons. Still not as bad as that Steven Strasburg contract, but we can talk about that in a few minutes.
I don't know about that. Steven Strasburg won a World Series. I mean, granted, it wasn't on that contract, but at least he helped his team win something.
Yeah, I mean, 7 for 245, and now he may never pitch again. I don't. And in baseball, the money's all guaranteed. He gets the paycheck.
Yep, for sure. But hey, maybe he'll join the deferred contracts group. Who knows? Maybe he'll join the July 1st celebration team.
Bobby Bonilla Day coming up, man. We were talking about this yesterday.
Yeah, it's also Ken Griffey Jr. Day and a lot of other days.
That's true. It's just Bonilla was the first one to do it, and he's the most famous for it.
Yeah.
You said his contract ends in 2035, right?
Yeah.
So those of you who don't know, Bobby Bonilla was a baseball player on the New York Mets who never wanted to go without a paycheck. So he convinced the Mets to drag out his contract through the year 2035. He retired in 2001. He gets $1 million every July 1st.
$1.19 million, baby.
Every July 1st.
That's not a bad way to do it.
Genius. I mean, think about it. Genius. All right, let's roll into the AL West real quick. Rangers at 41-23. Again, pretty big surprise. The Astros also a surprise in the opposite direction. I thought they would start out harder, the defending World Series champions at 37-29. Angels kind of sort of hanging in there at 36-31. Maybe they finally put a postseason run together with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani's last.
Doubt it.
Mariners at 31-33, coming off the hot season last year. I thought they'd be a little bit hotter. Jared Kelenick's been a bright spot for them. I think he's got 12 home runs at this point in the season. I'm not 100% on that, but I think he's close to that. And then the Oakland Athletics are the worst team in baseball at 17-50 right now. However, they've won 3 series in a row, including sweeping the Brewers this past series.
Didn't at one point the Rangers have like 10 runs scored in like 12 out of 16 games or something like that? Like that offense in Texas is just they rake the baseball. It's incredible.
Ken Brandt says, if Trout and Ohtani stay healthy, slim chance at the playoffs. I mean, if Trout stays healthy, that'll be the first time in, I think, 5 seasons that he stays healthy the whole year. So that would be something in and of itself. And I mean, Ohtani's been healthy for most of his career, so that's good. And I mean, let's not mince words, right? Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball right now. The only two-way player that's doing it at a high level. And he's just the best player in baseball. So when we go through our hots and nots, we've just elected to leave Shohei Ohtani off, or at least I have, because we know it's already like understood that Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball.
Aaron Judge might have something to say about that in his New York following.
Aaron Judge doesn't pitch to the tune of like a 3 ERA.
Yes, but a lot of people don't.
A lot of people also don't hit 35 home runs and 90 RBIs in a season, but Shohei Ohtani does that too.
Yeah, well, Judge hits a lot more than that. Judge is halfway there already.
I can hear a debate. We'll do it on another show. It'll be perfect. So let's talk about the NL East now, right? Last division. No, we didn't do the East yet.
We're doing standings.
So Braves at 40-25, 8-2 in their last 10. Marlins at 37-29, 8-2 in their last 10. Phillies 32-33, 7-3 in their last 10. The Mets and the Nationals rounding out the bottom. Nationals at 26-38, Mets at 31-55. Both of them are just abysmal their last 10.
Let's take a moment to laugh at the Mets for blowing $500 million in contracts in the offseason, and now they're one of the worst teams in baseball.
I was going to make the comment, the Mets are metting very early this year. Usually they wait till September.
Mm-hmm. They're getting right out ahead of this thing, and they're going to say, hey, we're just going to suck this year. That's fine by me.
Hey, if that's what they want to do, let them do it, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's go into the who's hots. Teams, who's hots. Kind of sort of just went through it. Any team that has a 7-3 record or better, Ryan and I dub them as hot going into this week. Like I said, we're going to try and do a weekly show, so we'll vary that. But going in right now, obviously the hot teams. We've got the Pirates, we've got the Braves, the Marlins, the Phillies, the Diamondbacks, and the Tampa Rays.
Naturally.
Yeah, I mean,
I wonder if there's a stretch of like any 10 games where the Rays have been not by our standards.
Research we can do after the show. That's a good question, though. We can bring it up next week. So, chat, does anybody have any question or guesses on who is not hot right now? I kind of sort of just gave the answers out a few minutes ago.
The Mets.
Yeah. Amongst the teams that are not hot right now, obviously a couple of surprises here. You got the Cardinals. We talked about them. The Mets, the Nationals, you kind of figured. The Dodgers are 3-7 in their last 10. We just said it a few minutes ago. They had lost 5 of 6 in walk-off fashion. And then obviously they win big in Philly on Saturday, and then they lose big in Philly on Sunday. It happens. Welcome to baseball, right? And then you got the Rockies, no surprise there. Tigers, no surprise there. Royals, even less of a surprise. And then the somewhat surprising Mariners, especially with the way they finished the season last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a 10-game stretch. There's 16 different 10-game stretches throughout the season, so you can't let one bad one beat you up.
That is correct. All right, let's move into who is hot players. You can start off this one.
So we're gonna go wrap around to AL East, AL Central, AL West, and then we'll do NL West, NL Central, NL East, so that way we can round out talking a little bit about the Phillies. I am doing the hot pitchers. Bill is doing the hot hitters. We are doing one from each division, and you cannot talk about the AL East. You cannot talk without talking about the Tampa Bay Rays. You can't talk about the Tampa Bay Rays without talking about Shane McClanahan. The first 10-game winner in the majors this year. He currently sits at 10-1 with a 2.18 ERA. His one loss was back on May 30th to the Chicago Cubs, where he gave up 2 earned runs. They lost 2-1. Offense just didn't show up that day, so it's not even like he got shelled. Last 5 starts, he's given up 7 earned runs. He's pitched 7 or more innings in 3 of those 5 starts. This is a guy who's just going out there and dealing. I mean, none of the underlying metrics are impressive, but they're not, otherworldly impressive. He's just going out there and getting outs, getting his team deep into ball games and pitching like a true ace. He's improved every single year. 10-6 2 years ago, 12-8 last year, 10-1 now. ERA's come down almost by a full run from 2 years ago to last year, and now it's down, another half run or so this year. So this is a dude, 14 starts into the season. This is looking like the real deal. Once again, the Rays get a steal from somebody that's homegrown. Imagine that.
All right, well, I'll stick with the AL East on this one. I actually went with the second place team in that division because the Orioles are real hot. And I wanted to take somebody from the Orioles, kind of a surprise. You got to, if you're talking about the Orioles, you can talk about one of 2 players that are really shining right now. Adley Rutschman's obviously one of them. The one I chose, Ramon Urias. His last 7 games, he's hitting .571 with a home run, 3 RBIs, and a stolen base. But what he's offering is absolute consistency. His OPS is off the chart. He's getting on base. He's walking a lot. He's not striking out. He's really become a main focal point in that offense, and it's part of the reason that the Orioles are, in fact, 41-24. So yeah, go Ramon Urias for me. I'm saying his last name wrong, and I know it. Urias sounds wrong though, so Urias is what I'm going with.
Yeah, I mean the Baltimore Orioles. We've kind of been rooting for the Orioles for years. Speaking of deferred contracts, they owe Chris Davis some money on July 1st too. But glad to see them get that off the roster. That was abysmal. That was awful. Truthfully speaking, though, even as a Phillies fan, it's awesome to see bad teams competing. It's nice to see that baseball isn't all about the money. It was a really big concern of mine when the Mets went out and broke, the unwritten rule of don't spend the bank, despite the fact that you can. And I'm glad to see that that's not working out. I like to see the little guys here fighting back a little bit. So, unfortunately, Miami can probably get out of the way. Atlanta, fine, whatever. I'm okay with being a Phillies fan and they finish behind the Braves, but Miami needs to go. AL Central, for me, the hottest pitcher in that division is somebody who is pitching for the Tigers, who are an abysmal team, 1-9 in their last 10 games. But Eduardo Rodriguez goes out there and he competes every single start. He's the league leader in ERA, actually. He is right under McClanahan at a 2.13. And to pitch on as bad of a team as that is, that's a trade piece right there, right? Eduardo Rodriguez being 30 years old now, I believe. He's been in the league for some time. He's kind of been more of an innings eater throughout his career. But this is the time to cash in for the Tigers. If they don't think that they're going to catch the Twins or even the Guardians in this division, they should go ahead and trade Eduardo Rodriguez at the deadline and capitalize on the fact that his last, 5 starts, we've got 7 earned runs here. We've got 3 starts, 6 innings or more. This is a guy that could fit well in the middle of some competing teams' rotation and continue his hot streak. This is a great, sell move for the Tigers, and I think this is something that they will explore.
Yeah, makes sense, right? You're not really doing that well, and you need pieces for the future. Fire away. I'm going with a player from the Guardians. Again, I'm doing last 7 games. Ryan's got a lot more research for his stuff. I'm doing just last 7 games. I'm going Jose Ramirez. Probably not a very large surprise there in his last 7 games for the Guardians. He's hitting .429. He's scored 5 runs. He's got 3 home runs and 6 RBIs. The Guardians are 6-4, mostly because of his bat. Again, same thing with as Ramon Urias is he's not making stupid outs. He's walking. He's got a good eye for the ball, and he's putting the ball in play a lot. And when you hit the ball, you hit it hard. Good things happen.
Yeah, it's easier to break down hitters for the last 7 days because when you're looking at pitchers, obviously they get maybe 2 starts if they're lucky. For the AL West, though, the pitcher that I'm going to pick, and I feel like that this guy's still slightly disrespected, and I strictly because of who he plays for, no doubt, and that's Framber Valdez, and everybody hates the Astros, so nobody wants to give them any respect. This is a guy last 2021, he went 11-6. 2022, we saw him pitch in the World Series against the Phillies. He was excellent. He actually kind of turned that series around for the Phillies, for the Astros, really stymied the Phillies lineup. Went 17-6 last year. But this year, he's kind of taken it to another level. He's only 6-5, so he hasn't gotten helped out a lot with his by his teammates. However, pitching to the tune of a 2.36 ERA, so the performance is there. He just needs a little bit of help. 84 innings into the season already, and he is tied for the AL lead in shutouts with 1.
With how many? I missed that.
1 singular complete game shutout.
That's good. Pitchers don't go complete games anymore. That's good.
He led the AL in complete games and shutouts last year too, with
Very
3.
Nice.
And
I'm actually going to go with a player from the team in the basement of the MLB. I'm going with Jace Peterson. Here's why I'm going with Jace Peterson. In his last 7, he's hitting .583. He's got 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 1 stolen base, a .948 OPS, and just a veteran on a team of very, very young guys. Put his front foot forward and leading. Like I said, they've won the last 3 series in a row, including sweeping the Milwaukee Brewers. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, Jace Peterson's always been more of a utility player, a role guy. So it's nice to see even players like that can break out in 7-day span. We'll see how long that holds up, though.
Correct.
So we're switching over to the NL now. Hot players. My hot player is interesting. I really enjoyed watching this guy pitch in St. Louis, where he was for a long time. He never really panned out a ton. Went 59-39 in his 7 years there with an ERA slightly under 4. This was a guy that was a first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he was the 19th overall pick in the 2012 MLB draft. This is Michael Wacha. He's currently pitching for the Padres, who are not where we thought they would be as a team, but he is 6-2 with a 3.18 ERA. So only 68 innings in, though, so he hasn't, pitched necessarily deep into ball games. But at this point in his career, with what he's shown, he's more of an innings eater anyway. 4th, 5th starter, maybe a guy that can go out and just get you some innings, give your bullpen some rest, kind of deal. And he's doing just that this year. He's pitching a little bit above his expectations, if I'm being quite frank. So.
Yeah, sticking with that division, obviously, you went with the Padres. I'm going to go with the Dodgers, and maybe I just feel this way because I just watched him torch the Phillies for 3 straight games, but I got to go with Freddie Freeman. The guy is just a perpetual hitter. It just never ends, absolutely never ends. On the season, he's hitting .338. He's got 13 home runs, which is 2nd in the NL. He's got 44 RBIs, which is 5th in the NL. His .998 OPS is 3rd in the NL. For years, this guy has absolutely crushed the Phillies. And like I said, maybe I chose him specifically because I just got done watching him torch the Phillies for 3 days. But it's just absolutely absurd how year in and year out, this guy puts in the work, and he's always one of the top names when you're thinking about who the best player is in any particular in the game. Really, he's one of the top names. So yeah, for me, it's Freddie Freeman.
That's a solid pick. I've always enjoyed watching Freeman play. I think that, the fact that he didn't return to Atlanta just doesn't seem right. It's to me, it's so weird still to watch him in a Dodgers uniform and to hear about how that contract situation went down. To me, I felt like he was done wrong, but
I would agree.
His agents were chasing that money.
Yes, they most certainly were. And listen, the Phillies broadcasters said it the entire Dodgers series. He's just such a nice guy. Like, you have a hard time hating Freddie Freeman, even though he's been, pardon my language, shitting on the Phils for years. It's just so hard to hate a guy that's like that genuine and loves the game as much as he does. he's what's the best. He's like one of the best parts about baseball right now. Freddie Freeman. I said it.
Yeah, you need guys in baseball like Freddie Freeman. That's just as simple as it is. A great ambassador to the sport, a guy that anybody can look up to, no matter who you root for. NL Central pitcher so far, I'm going with Justin Steele from the Chicago Cubs. It's been a bit of a rocky road for him. He didn't hit the majors until he was 25 years old, so he got up kind of late. He pitched okay in his first 20 appearances or so through the first season of his career. Last year, he transferred to being a full-time starter. Only started 24 games before he got hurt. Was 4-7, but he had a 3.18 ERA. The Cubs are just not a good team. Let's be honest. This year, however, he is 6-2 on a, once again, not good Cubs team. 12 starts, 2.65 ERA, so it's all there. But he's only getting 5, maybe 6 innings per start. And I believe he actually just got hurt in his last start, too. He only pitched 3 innings. So we'll see what develops from that. But he's been balling out. He's been pitching well. Actually, his last 5 starts have been not that great. But overall in the season, he's been pretty good. So we'll see what develops from this. But there's not a lot of innings. There's not a lot of experience on that arm. So we'll see if it can withstand the whole 162-game season.
Possibly one of those other trade chips that we mentioned earlier with the Tigers, right? Let's see. I'm going to go with the rookie phenom out of Cincinnati right now, Elly De La Cruz. He's only played, I think, 12 games. Last 7 days, 429, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, 2 stolen bases. I know those sound like pedestrian numbers, but the kid's a rookie, and he's hitting 429 with a home run, 3 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases.
He's 6'5".
He is in fact 6'5". He's a tall, lanky kid, and just looks like he belongs out there. You know how sometimes you get these rookies that come up. I mean, we've seen it tons of times with the Phillies, right? You get these rookies that come up, and the game looks too big for them. It does not look too big for this kid, and I'm really looking forward to see what he can put together in his career there in Cincinnati, and maybe elsewhere if they're out of the running and they decide that they'd rather move him and gain more pieces. But I doubt it.
Yeah, no, they'll stick with him. He's going to be a staple in their rebuild. I mean, he's only 21 years old. There's no reason to move off of him, no matter how well he's doing.
Yeah.
So my pitcher for the NL East is definitely not anybody from the Phillies. I'm going with Bryce Elder from the Atlanta Braves, actually. So
yeah,
4-1, not fantastic, win-loss numbers. A lot of no decisions. He's made 13 starts this year. However, he's pitching to the tune of a 2.69 ERA. Gets overshadowed by Spencer Strider some, rightfully so. Strider's been fantastic. 77 innings for this guy, and he leads the league in wild pitches. Fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
7 wild pitches in 13 starts.
Isn't it because he's got d'Arnaud catching him and Murphy catches everybody else?
I don't know. That sounds about right.
Yeah, that's got to be what it is. Murphy's really good. That would be weird. No, Ken Brandt, I'm not going with a Philly. I'm actually going to go with a Brave. And it's because how could you not go with this guy, right? Ronald Acuna Jr. right now, hitting 331 on the season, 13 home runs, 28 stolen bases. He's been caught 5 times.
We talked about it at your house the other day. I'm glad that the stolen base is back. I don't necessarily love the way that they brought it back, but the fact that it is back and it is a huge part of the game, it brings, speed. They say speed kills, right? And now I'm glad that speed is a lethal part of the game again.
I agree. And listen, Ronald Acuna has gotten to the point where he's like manipulating the 2-throw rule. Like he's going out just far enough where he knows he can get back, but he tempts the pitcher throws over. Because the new rule, for those of you who don't know the rule, Brian obviously knows the rule, is if a pitcher throws to first base to try and do a pickoff twice in an at-bat, single at-bat, you're pretty much guaranteeing a stolen base because you can't throw over there again unless you're 100% sure you can get him out, or he automatically takes second anyway. So you're almost guaranteeing a stolen base, especially from a guy like Ronald Acuna who's manipulating the system, and he's doing it perfectly, and I've got nothing wrong with it. Keep going, dude. But again, 28 stolen bases, 65 games into the season, he's got 28 stolen bases. That's extremely impressive.
Well, what's even more impressive is the fact that he does not lead the league in stolen bases. But
we're going to say his name wrong. Yustri Ruiz.
Yep,
from the
30, 30, I think.
Correct. Yeah, 31. He got one last night.
Right. Twice as many stolen bases as the team has wins. Anyway, Did you hear that the Oakland A's are doing a reverse boycott?
No,
All the fans are going to show up to the stadium tonight to show that it's not bad fans, it's bad ownership.
that's awesome, and I support that so much.
I don't know if it's supposed to happen tonight. I saw it posted today, so I assume they meant tonight, but I'm going to be on the lookout for the A's attendance numbers.
That's a great idea, actually, for them. I mean, teams that are already getting, like, that doesn't matter to them, and I'm sure it won't matter to the A's owner. He's going to get his money because you bought the ticket, but
yeah,
it's still a good idea.
Hey, one game out of the year, he'll get his money.
Honorable mention for who's hot this season. You can't start this conversation without talking about the kid who's hitting almost 400. Luis Arraez from the Miami Marlins is hitting 397 right now. He had a 1-for-5 game yesterday, which dropped him below the 400 mark. And he's got a 932 OPS. He's not, what I think is super impressive about him is he's only got 12 strikeouts on the year. 12 strikeouts on the entire year. 65 games in the season, 12 strikeouts. Is that he's not particularly fast. Again, 1 stolen base on the season. When he's hitting the ball, he's making good contact. He's finding the gaps. He's only got 1 home run on the season. Also, he's not hitting for power. He's just strictly playing small ball and succeeding at an extremely high rate. And congratulations to Luis Arraez for that.
I don't know that he'll finish the season hitting 400. Like to hit 400 in today's day and age, or at all. I mean, you just have to be hot throughout the whole season. You know, I talked about it earlier. There are 16 10-game stretches throughout the year. It comes out to 160 games. Like, you got to be hot in all of them. Like, you can't afford any cold streaks. And I just don't imagine that that'll happen. But if it does happen, that's going to be incredible. It might be a little underappreciated, the fact that it's happened this deep into the season.
Again, honorable mention, because I think it is underappreciated. The last person that did it, I think, was Chipper Jones in 2004. And he didn't even hit 400 that year. He was hitting 380 this deep in the season. They made a huge deal about it. So again, 397, 65 games in, extremely impressive of Luis Arraez.
And I know Nomar Garciaparra was hitting like 390. Like, he finished the year with like a 390 average or something like that in the early 2000s as well. But
we got a little bit of information. I tried to Google it and find it. It looks like the MLB is not really giving me the true information on it, but it does appear that the worst umpire in baseball, Angel Hernandez, has not umped a game since April 3rd for poor performance behind the plate. I forget who he was doing the umpiring for, and I apologize. I should have done that research and gotten it to you. I just thought it was a fun fact that for years people have been saying he's the worst umpire in baseball, and it's been unanimous. He's been the worst umpire in baseball, and finally the MLB did something about it, and he has not been back.
Yep, and it's about time. That's all we got to say about
it. It's too late, honestly.
Yeah, it's too. I mean, it's not too little, too late, because this is, pretty significant. The fact that one of the more prominent umpires in MLB history is no longer umping games, I guess, won't matter anyway when they go to robot umps in 2024. Hopefully, they go to robot umps in 2024. Yeah, they could go to robot umps tomorrow, and I would be excited.
Yeah, I was one of those people that was against it at the beginning of the season, but having seen all the poorly called games by the umpires this year has vastly changed my mind. But that's a conversation for another time, obviously. Do you have anything else? Chat, do you guys have anything you want to talk about real quick? Baseball related?
Let's talk about the Phillies here for a couple minutes.
Let's do it.
Disappointing. We still don't have a fifth starter. Barely have a fourth, third, second, and first. Lineup's been disappointing. I mean, outside of the last, week and a half, the lineup was a huge disappointment too. But as you said numerous times to me, they got to get hot at some point, right? And outside of JT Realmuto, anybody that's making over $20 million seems to be getting hot at the right time.
Yeah, everybody who was listen. I follow a whole bunch of Philly fan pages on Facebook and Twitter, and everybody was calling for Kyle Schwarber to get benched, and I don't know why, because you know exactly what the man is in April and May. You need to get him those ABs, get his eyes right, because in June he comes out and he lights the world on fire. He's got 4 home runs in June already. It's June 10th, 12th. Like, you know what Kyle Schwarber is. It's not something that's new to the fan base. It's not something that's new to baseball. Calling for his head because you disagree with the way he's playing at the point in time is ridiculous. Also, there's 100 million reasons why he's not going to be on the bench. Throwing it out there. to the flip tune of that, the continuous year in and year out roller coaster performances by Aaron Nola is extremely frustrating. A guy who finished the playoffs last year, other than the World Series, really, really strong. You said it best to me the other day, or about a month ago. They look like they've got World Series fatigue. Like they just didn't come back with energy. They didn't look energized. They didn't look ready to go. And now again, we're June 12th, and they're a game below 500. So, and fortunately, the Braves didn't run away with the division yet, and they have a shot to push for a playoff spot. But doing this every year where you're going into June and you're 5, 6, 7 games below 500, it's not a formula that me as a fan enjoy very much. Now, you turn around and you rattle off 10, 12 victories in a row, something along those lines, I'll shut my mouth. But until you do that, let's go.
Yeah, I would like to see them continue this 7 out of 10 streak for probably the remainder of June at least, let's get our head comfortably above 500 here a little bit, and then we can start making a push for the division. But fortunately, like you said, it's wide open right now. The Braves did not, in fact, run away with it yet. Although if they continue to go 8-2 every 10 games, this is going to get out of hand quickly. So I just think that some of the bats still need to wake up. Bryce slightly cooled off a little bit from his return. I know when he first came back, he was really hot. That's bound to happen. He just hasn't had enough at bats to fully get his timing back. The Rhys Hoskins loss, man. As much as I shit on Rhys Hoskins for not being the clutchest player in the world, because he's not. Let's not add anything to Rhys Hoskins. He was god awful in the postseason last year, and in the World Series, him and Realmuto were just abysmal. Like it was embarrassing. But this team's kind of feeling the loss of Rhys Hoskins right now, as he could perform in 162 game regular season. So
I said it as soon as he went down. That's 30 to 35, 85 to 90, and I said they're going to miss it. And right now they're missing it.
It's pitches seen, it's walks drawn. It's even when he was getting out, at least he was seeing pitches, right?
Yeah, he was averaging 5. I think he was averaging just over 5 pitches in the stretch where he was batting 181. 5 pitches in at bat from Rhys Hoskins, and he's the man's batting less than 200 in that stretch last year. That's still really impressive.
Yeah, that's what you call making quality outs. You're not gonna bat 1,000 on the season, right? We're sitting here raving over a guy hitting 397, but if you're gonna get out, at least fight. Go down don't go down, like a wet noodle.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Let's see. Ken Brandt says Stott and Big Hit Nick, the only ones hitting. Stott even cooled off there for a long while. He looks like he's finally getting it coming back. However, yes, I will admit the 318 average that Nick Castellanos has right now is really solid. That's kind of sort of the Nick Castellanos we thought we were signing last year. Obviously, last year was a disappointment, but it's good that we're seeing the version of him that we thought we were getting when we signed him.
Yeah, to comment on the Stott thing, I feel like he's better at the top of the lineup. The numbers show he's better at the top of the line or in top of the lineup situations. Before yesterday's big hit where he scored 2 runs, he was batting .213 with runners in scoring position. Like that's not going to cut it. You don't want that guy up at the plate with runners on right now. So until he figures that out and grows into, the Alec Bohm ideal of, how to hit with runners in scoring position, I would say that we need to keep him at the top of the lineup or close to it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's we could talk about Corey Clemens. I don't think we need to. He's been a pleasant surprise coming from the Tigers.
I'm assuming we're talking about Cody.
Yeah, Cody Clemens. Yeah, I say Corey. That's my fault. Cody Clemens. Because I read it and I was like, yeah, that seems right. Whatever.
Well, I don't have the comments up. I have the banners up. So.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so he's been a pleasant surprise, but that's all we can hope for. You had Derek Hall, who you hoped could do half of what Rhys Hoskins did, went down in the preseason. You're piecemealing this team, the first and third base position out there right now. And Clemens has been a pleasant surprise. He's fielding the position pretty well. The last couple of days, really well.
I would rather see Clemens out there at first base every day and let Bohm get his reps at third than Sosa at third and Bohm at first at this point.
I would agree with that, especially
now. If there's a lefty on the mound, obviously it's a better matchup if you get the right-handed Sosa in the lineup and put Clemens on the bench. But I think honestly, Clemens hitting 265, 270 on the season. The occasional bomb, like playing good defense over at first. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I also will. I also accept that.
I was really concerned when Hoskins went down, and you and I sat there and talked about it. We were like, who is supposed to play this position?
Like I said, we had Derek Hall on the roster, but even I was like, that's not a good.
No, that wasn't going to
That's not a good thing. But yeah, so this is a good first show back. You got anything else?
No, I'm about wrapped up here.
All right, I'm also wrapped up. We going? You want to call me in?
Do I want to call you in? Let me go talk to the starter real quick here. Hey man, how you feeling? Good. No, you want me to go to him? Okay. You want me to go to him? Okay.
That's all for us here on BSing Sports, part of the BSing Network. Thank you for joining us, and have a good night.
Wow, dude, you screwed that one up bad.
I did. What do I